Obviously, there's been a lot going on. I don't even know what day it is really, but I want to take an opportunity for Michael Hornes to kind of talk through, the state of our infrastructure. Where are we at? Kind of what's going on. There's a lot of moving parts, across the whole county, and Kerrville is just a small piece, of Kerr County. And so we want to take this opportunity to kind of talk through our parks and some of the, the damage and what some of our plan is for debris, some of the debris sites. Michael and his team have been working diligently across the whole EOC, but to make sure that we have everything that we need to take care of it, and we continue to provide excellent services to our residents, and still maintain the customer service that our citizens expect. So, Mr. Mayor, if I could, I'll give Michael Hornes to come up here and speak.
Mr. Hornes.
Mr. Mayor, members of the council, thank y'all for taking the time. Normally, I enjoy standing up here talking to y'all. I really do. I like having fun with it. Try to keep it light. Today's a tough day. Yesterday was a tough day. However many days it's been tough days. I would like to start and just say I'm thankful for our staff that they never stop. They just keep going. As we started looking at what we needed to triage here within the city limits, Stuart Barron, myself, and Jay Broomhall from Parks and Rec just immediately started working through all the pieces. We've had significant damage, as we all know, throughout town. From our infrastructure standpoint, first thing that we had to work on was the water plant. And so water plant sustained significant damage. And luckily for us, we have several different sources of water. And so since Friday, we've been on well water. And we'll continue to do so for several weeks. We've had folks from TDM, Texas Department of Emergency Management, TCEQ, our insurers out there to take a look at everything. Staff is evaluating what the best course of action is, because there is, again, a lot of damage. We had several outbuildings destroyed, washed down the river, and we need to get to our raw water intake. And so it's going to take some work to get to that. So we have to get in and excavate at the intake. We've got to block it off. We've got to clear out all the debris. And so it's going to be several weeks at least for us to be on wells. We're going to be fine. There was a concern a little bit early on that the tank levels were going down, and that was because of a water leak that was on the G Street Bridge. So we have 4 water crossings, and we have water lines that cross them all. The water line is on the front side of G Street Bridge, and that was destroyed. So we were able to isolate that. Once we were able to do that, pressures went up. Throughout town, there were several line breaks, nothing too major. There was one near Grimes Funeral Home, and we were able to get out there immediately and work through that and get that fixed. And so I'm very thankful for that one. Wastewater plant is doing okay, doing fine. We don't have issues out there. So the infrastructure is in good shape. And I think that was one of the blessings that we had in this whole series of days. Because a lot of folks have had to be on boil water notices. TCEQ was asking us every day, where are you, what do you need to do? And we were always above all their thresholds, and we were doing fine. From Parks and Rec standpoint, we had to evacuate Kerrville Shriner Park, and Rose Ledesma, as I can't thank her enough. All the things that she has actually done. Beyond what I'll speak to now is that they got all the residents, they got everybody who was out of there out. We had 8 cabins and 10 RV sites and a number of tent sites just completely submerged. Some of those are going to be a total wash, and we'll work through that. Every park just about remains closed. If you've been by Guadalupe Park, that's right past the dam. Yeah, completely. Louise Hayes Park, I think everybody has seen water lines. You can tell where the water lines are at. They're all the way up to the street level. The baths in the restroom survived. that piece, and all the way down River Trail is kind of demolished and all those things. So those things remain closed. Those are secondary, obviously, to all the other things that we're dealing with. But the infrastructure is my piece. So we have been working to get Francisco Limos Bridge back open.
Take your time.
Forest Service, excuse me. Forest Service has been out there along with TxDOT to excavate all of the debris out there. They're still working on that. TxDOT's still evaluating the pillars. And so until they get that assessment taken care of, that bridge will remain closed. There's damage to the guardrails, damage to the sidewalks. And so we have significant work to do. We would love to open that bridge back up because, as everybody knows, traffic congestion right now is just, it's a lot. And if we can open up that bridge, we will alleviate some of that pressure. But for now, it remains closed. We'll update you every day on that. We've been working on clearing pedestrian bridges down by G Street, and I believe that Jade told me that was open earlier today. Let's see, the building official had to go out in a few instances and tag houses. We had to cordon off a couple of places, the Lux apartments. An RV hit those and it was shifted off of its foundation. Power was still on, electricity was running, air conditioning was on. It was an extreme hazard. So we've had good contact with K-Pub and with Atmos Gas to get those emergency cutoffs done, and everybody has turned around very quickly to help with that. What else? As far as debris removal, we've had, I don't know, I think I've had 500 phone calls, emails, texts for people offering to help. And it's fantastic. It's amazing. What we've been trying to reiterate to everyone is that before any of that happens, we have to have primary, secondary, and tertiary searches from fire and rescue. And once that's complete, because of the nature of going all the way up to Hunt and the road conditions such as they are, it really complicates things. I know everybody wants to get out there. I promise you I'm one of them. We have family, friends out there. We want to be out there. But it's a process. And so as a part of that process, part of my task is to start working through the debris and where that debris is going to go. And so we've been working with TDEM and TCEQ, and TDEM has been fantastic, and they're starting to take the reins, which is very nice for me because we'd love to be able to manage all this, and I'd love to say that I'm the smartest guy in the room, but I am not. And they have an infrastructure, same as DPS, that just scales in a way that we cannot. And so it is a great lift off of our shoulders and help to have them at our side. And so they've been doing that the whole time. We are very appreciative of them. So a couple of things are in the works right now at the landfill. We're working with TCEQ to get a temporary debris storage location for debris to be housed out there. And that's white debris, that's kind of contractor debris, things like that. And so we're isolating a spot where we can do that. TCEQ has been great to work with about that. And then secondarily, we are looking for a place for the tree debris, the vegetative debris. And so what we have decided upon is that we're going to utilize the soccer fields that are on Loop 534. It's about 28 acres. We need a massive amount of space. I'm not sure exactly the numbers of debris, but it's in the millions of cubic yards. And it's kind of an unimaginable concept. And so when we get to the start of that process, that's going to be one of the sites where we're going to be taking tree debris. And there's something called a I'm blank on it. It's a
Burn
it's a burn box, essentially. And so TDEM uses those. They've used them in Hurricane Harvey. And it'll take about, they say I don't know, 70 to 100 days, something like that, to go through that debris. Now, there's a couple of things that we've been getting phone calls about, is people getting charged by Republic to dump. We've been in constant contact with those folks. If you're a citizen of Kerrville, you know that you get vouchers out there. You get 2 a year to take your dumps out, and everything beyond that you have to pay for. So we're working on details with them to address the citizens of Kerrville and their ability to take debris out there. We still have to talk through what's going to happen next. There are so many questions to be answered still. I've been through something like this before, and one of the things is if your contractor wants to take your debris down right now to the landfill, then there is an opportunity for them to do so for a fee. There is a second option, which isn't finalized yet, whereby folks, if they're able to separate out their debris and place it in front of their homes, as this process begins to start working its way through, TDEM, TxDOT, us, whomever we decide whoever is going to take the reins on this will be able to take that debris and then transport it. I think that option is going to be a less expensive option or a free option for folks. But again, we're in kind of the preliminary stages of all that. It all still needs to be worked out. And so I know folks are frustrated with that piece with Republic. We are hoping to bring an answer back to you very soon about that. Stuart was on the phone minutes before the council meeting got started. So with that, Mr. Mayor, I don't know.
I have questions about the debris.
Yes, sir.
This isn't just debris within the city limits of Kerrville. This is debris all the way up the South Fork and parts of the North Fork. Is that
Yes.
correct?
Yes, sir.
And parts of Johnson Creek. So this is a county-wide debris issue
Oh, yes.
that will be addressed, we hope, in conjunction with TDEM.
Yes. And I think the hard part again for that is that the way that you can do that through TDEM is, you know, all this stuff is, for the most part, on private property, right? If they can get that to public property. So when we're able to get volunteer crews out to help, or folks can do it themselves, or call me and I will come out there and I'll lift that stuff and put it out there with you. Get it to the streets, that's now in the public sphere. Now that's gonna create a couple of issues. So if anybody was down in Houston or Port A or anything during the hurricanes and Harvey, you have kind of big giant piles of stuff that sits for a long time. Mm-hmm. And that creates its own set of issues, right? But it takes a while to kind of move through that whole process. But I think that's one
We're at the beginning of the process, and we'll know a lot more within a few weeks, probably.
Yes, sir, we certainly will.
I just want to make clear that everyone understood that's not just debris within the city of Kerrville. That's debris up and probably down the river towards Center Point, isn't it?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. And so we're working on several sites too. It's not just this, and I think there are several different options that are still being considered. Temporary sites in Center Point, closer to Ingram. There's less land owned by us. We obviously have the landfill. We have those soccer fields right there. That's a really good spot. That's flat. And those represent good areas for us to do. Center Point, I think, has a few spaces. I was talking to some of the county commissioners about areas that they might be trying to utilize, where people could bring things to. So, and then the other piece is, I think we were looking at early on roll-offs that we might be able to place out in some of the neighborhoods that were affected in town, and we can place those out. People could drop stuff to them. Again, all preliminary. We're still working search and rescue. We're still doing all those pieces right now. And so tomorrow's conversation with TDEM and me and my piece, I'll have more. We'll push that information out as soon as we get it.
I was asked today about bridges. I said the process is careful removal of the debris and inspection of the debris. And then TxDOT comes to inspect the structure of the bridge. and any repairs are before we can open a bridge. Is that correct, roughly?
Roughly, yes, sir. And so it, you know, it could be minor, it could be not, right?
I noticed that the G Street Bridge is open, the Loop Bridge is open, the bridge over by Tally Elementary and Lake House is open. Really, the only major bridge within the city limits, well, Bear Creek probably is closed too.
So Bear Creek is closed and Bear Creek has a section missing.
Yes.
So, yeah, there's.
And then there's Lima Street Bridge, Francisco Lima Street Bridge is closed currently.
It is.
But of all the crossings, we only have two that I'm thinking of that are currently closed.
That's correct, it is too, right, Stuart?
And while traffic does stack up, I'm sure it's nothing compared to where you lived before.
We absolutely needs to be safe before it's, yes, it does create some traffic congestion, but it's, you know, better to have that and let TxDOT work their process. And we'll have to repair the guardrails on both sides. There's some sidewalks that have subsided, and a few spaces, and so we'll have to work through some of that too.
So those bridges to repair are our responsibility or TxDOT's?
TxDOT's responsibility.
Thank you.
The guardrail piece is our responsibility.
Really?
Yeah, Stuart, can you speak to some of this?
Mr. Barron? Give everybody a chance. Give me a chance.
So first, let me thank some of my partners that I've been working with the first few days. And TxDOT has been somebody every time I go into EOC, Dale and Andreas are in there, and they've been great to work with. We've been working very closely with them, the Texas Forestry Service. We've been working on these bridges. Most of the bridges, the Francisco Limos Bridge is a TxDOT bridge. They own that bridge. The only bridge that the city owns right now is G Street, which they've done an inspection. Our engineers have looked at it, the TxDOT engineers have looked at it. It will be ours to repair. There's guardrail damage and sidewalk damage there. Bear Creek is the other bridge that's failed. The top of the bridge has washed off in two different places. That is a city-county bridge. The county actually owns roughly 20 feet of it on their
Do
side.
they own the broken part of it or?
Their part is broken as well as our part, yes, sir. But all of the other, the high water bridges in town belong to TxDOT, and we're working with them to do what we can. They have a lot of work to do outside the city limits, and so we have been using a little bit of city forces and to help as much as we can to get those back open. They're actually out there right now as one of my last stops here at Francisco Limos. They're still clearing debris out from under the bridge. They're using their own forces to do that right now. They were there all day yesterday, and the Texas Forestry Service was there yesterday too, cutting brush to get it out from under that bridge. But it is a TxDOT bridge.
Thank you. Any questions, guys?
I have a couple of questions. With regard to the debris pickup, whatever, does the landfill area have capacity to handle what we're about to need to give them? I mean, that's
Yes,
what
ma'am.
my question is.
Yes, ma'am, and it's a temporary site, so you speak to the temporary, just,
We're not landfilling anything ourselves right now, so most of this debris will end up going to San Antonio, at least all of the construction material and stuff like that. Everything else I think will be handled here from tree, brush removal will be stored there at the soccer field, and then also all the mud and muck. We're breaking everything into four different, at least at our sites currently, we're breaking them into four different piles. We have trees and brush, and then we have metal, and then construction materials like down components that are down, and four of them, the last one just failed me. Metal. So we have chain link fence everywhere at our sites in town. So those are the four, the metal and feet.
That's amazing, because having seen what I've seen, it's a lot. So, I mean, that's the thought. The other question I had was about water. So you said we're using the water from the wells that we have currently?
yes, ma'am.
And how long could we sustain ourselves on that?
It's a year's worth of, we can go a year. We are permitted, we can.
I mean, we won't hopefully need this to last that long, but I was just curious, because I know we have millions of gallons, but.
No, and Stuart can speak more to this, but, you know, we will start working immediately on the repairs that we have to get done. And again, it kind of all goes through this Texas Department of Emergency Management process, right? We make the request, here's the materials that we need, here's the equipment that we need to start dredging it, and then let contractors get in there and start repairing that. it fared okay.
For months on our well water, if we're not in a place. And though the water treatment plant did sustain some damage, our main concern right now is intake structure. It's not damaged, but it's about half full of debris and mud. And so that's the dredging that we're looking at doing. We're actually out there this afternoon trying to get a plate in the front of it so we can close it off and get inside the structure and get it cleaned up. The plate's not going in place just because of the debris that's just lodged in front of it.
Those wells are coming in handy, huh?
The wells are operating just fine, so we typically don't have to run city on wells. We'll be evaluating that the next few days and making sure that we're being able to meet demand. If we need to, we have opportunities within the city ordinances to pull back demand through our stages of emergency event, which is obviously. But right now, we feel like we can sustain where we're at for a prolonged period of time while we're working through this.
Thank you. That's great news. I'm good, that's it.
You asked all the questions I was going to, except for, Michael, we talked about the tree debris.
Yes.
Going out to hunt yesterday and seeing can't describe what I saw. Is 28 acres gonna be enough for everything that's out there? Because it is, the damage out there. I've lived here for 20 years. I did not recognize where I was yesterday, going out there. And there's a cypress tree on the side of 39 that the root ball is about as big as half of this room by itself. So, I mean, I know we're saying don't burn, don't do things. There were some fires yesterday. I mean, that's not in our control. Luckily enough, it looked like they cleared everything and gone through everything because they moved the piles to other areas before they started doing it. But is that going to be enough room over at the soccer fields, do you think?
The short answer is yes, right? How that process works is a mechanism of they bring it in, we burn it, they bring it in, we burn it. There'll probably be some times where we have more brush and we're not more than we can handle, but it's gonna be kind of a long process, because we'll only take in as much as we can actually, take care of.
I didn't even think about that, bring it in and get rid of it and bring in more, so that makes total sense.
But, so smart, again, smarter people than me went out and looked at it and said, yes, this is gonna be a good spot for well drilling.
The only other thing I have is not a question, Mayor, but it's a comment. Thank you. Thank you to our staff, thank you to our leadership, thank you to working together as one team, one cohesive unit. And Dalton, I'm gonna single you out because you're there and you've run it, and thank you for your professionalism, the way you've handled this, and I'm glad you're not still outside of Waco.
I have no questions particularly, and if it's time for comments, I would piggyback on what Councilman Harris has to say, because I've been out every morning at 7 o'clock at the Emergency Operations Center, and there's a ton of city staff there already when I get there, and all doing, with their heads down, working hard. And but not just that, all the state and federal agencies that have been here helping. It's amazing the amount of resources that have been provided to us, and it's too long a list to even begin. But there's I have the lowly job of just helping with the traffic, and it's just amazing of all the ATVs and boats and huge ships, and I don't know what you call looks like ready to go to war. And helicopters, and, I mean, it's everything. And the ambulances, and they're coming from all over, from everywhere. And then there's all the people that are donating money and bottles of water and food, cooking free food. I mean, it's just a real sight to behold that the coming together of really the whole country to help us out. So we're very grateful.
I echo what they've said, except generally during a press conference, I thank the world for all they've done. But at this time, I want to thank the city. Please go to your departments and tell them, we four, and Brenda, I'm going to say Brenda too, we five are proud of the work that you're doing. Every department,
Grateful for what you've done.
every department.
Yes, sir.
It's one team, and y'all have been right at the tip of the spear, and I really appreciate everything you've done.
Yes, sir.
Thank you.
The only one who doesn't listen to me when I tell him to go get some rest and drink, well, he drinks water, but he doesn't go get rest, is Dalton. Everybody
Yeah.
else listens. to me.
I've also fussed at him. I think everyone's fussed at him.
I mean, Dalton hasn't gone to every person at the EOC at any time and say, are you good?
Yeah.
That's what I hear him say a lot, are you okay? All the time. And I really appreciate that, because most of the answers are yes, but it's nice to know you're thinking about us and every person that's doing any little thing or big thing. So thank you, and all the staff. They've just been stellar, they really have.
The next item on the agenda is 3, consideration and possible action. Do we have action items on this agenda? If-
Well, unless it's this.
Do we have action items? Mr. Rice?
No, not on this one. I think this is just the workshop, Mayor.
All right. So, we do not need to go in executive session on the emergency disaster declaration, do we? Mr. Hayes, do we need to go into executive session on the emergency disaster?
Not until 6.
It's on this agenda, that's why I'm asking.
I don't have the 5 PM. Yeah,
For the-
on the
for
5
those-
PM one,
For those playing along at home, we have 3 agendas tonight. We have a special called meeting, which we are currently in. We have a city council agenda, and we have an emergency meeting agenda. We are currently in the special called meeting. And on that agenda, it says executive session. There's no need to go into executive session, is there?
no, sir.
All right, then we will not. I think what we'll do then, with the consent of council, I'm going to go ahead and adjourn this special called meeting. Our next meeting will start at 6 PM in these chambers, and this meeting is adjourned. Okay, next up at 6. Because it's a posted meeting, we can't start at 5:59, we have to start at 6. How much, just right at 6? Yes, I did. Yes.